primetime Poulton, keep it entertaining. You already knowin', outworking everybody and he don't ever quit. Talking about plenty comics like Graveyard Shift, Sea Dogs, Viking Wolf, U.S. Assassin, doing just what he loves. This is his passion. Bring more value to your dollar. No, I'm not frontin'. That's how just a writer became a moral compass. This is primetime Poulton. This is primetime Poulton. Let's go.
What's going on, guys? Happy Saturday. Welcome to La Pod Guys. It's the Moral Compass. With me, the Cowboy, Phil McNulty. What's up, Phil?
Hey, what's up? What's up, Mark?
So I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but my son recently asked me, why are there so many women's butts in your intro video? And I said, God gives the people what they want.
You know, I'll tell you what. I was doing a commission on... So when I did the X-Men 92 cover, I had a customer come over to me and he's like, oh my God, I love it. Right. He picked up the cover and then he said, can I, and I had the sketch covers with me because I was just like, you know what, I'm going to use this weekend, just work on X-Men 92 covers and try to make an extra buck there. Mm-hmm. And he said, oh, I want all of the, I want just X villains on that one. So basically any 90s X-Men villains. And he picked Emma Frost. And I had Emma Frost there holding her cape forward. And he's like, you know what? I love Mystique. She's forward. You know, I want Emma to be a little sexy. Can you like have her butt showing? And I was just like, okay. So I have the print. If you're interested in picking that up, you know what? I'll end up putting on my Etsy sometime soon. But a couple shows coming up. So if you want to see Emma Frost and all of her butt glory, stop by at my tables. I will have it for you.
And the link is in the description for Phil's Etsy store. You know, speaking about the sexy ladies, Phil, you missed it. We did an unboxing on the Haunted Pizza yearbook. Look at this. So shiny. Beautiful. Yeah. Got the Haunted Pizza logo on the back. You're not in this, but you have to be in volume 2. In fact, I think I want you to do the cover for next year's yearbook.
Oh, right. Awesome. Yeah. That's breaking news here on the podcast. But no, I'll be glad to do the cover. That's awesome.
Yeah. Just got to incorporate pizza into it. So
of course.
Something.
Of course.
Oh, we got Mike McMahon in the chat. What's up, Mike? This is perfect segue. Phil, U.S. Assassin 3 just passed 21,000. We had a friend of the show, OC Steve. He backed the Steel Force tier, $500 last night.
That's amazing. Well, you really the Steel Force one is a perk that you ain't gonna get on many other crowdfunding campaigns, and that we found the ammo container that it comes in. So I mean, we'll get to it, I'm sure, in a second. But man, it's one of the most creative perks out there for.
Let's just go to it. Yeah, so the Steel Force tier, $500, limited to only 5, but you get this awesome military ammo case with the U.S. Assassin name. The Steel Force name has 8/20/21. That's the day we launched, Phil. And inside will come with all 6 books that are part of this campaign. You got Mike McMahon's cover, Matt Martin's cover to book 3. You have the black and white edition of the book. You have the collected edition of U.S. Assassin. You have the Mercenary Bazooka Dog flip book. And then you have my script book. Plus, Mike does a sketch for you. But it's not just any regular sketch. It's going to be a sketch of you as your character because you're going to be drawn into volume 4, the next volume, as a member of Steel Force, Sensei Steel's new trainees. So two people have taken us up on this. So there's only 3 spots left. Really cool. I love these cases. I already ordered one for myself, but there'll be 5 others available. Of course, I'll get one for Mike. Chase is already telling me he wants a Steel Force case as well. But these things, they're pretty heavy. So shipping is a little expensive, but to be expected when you. When we're dropping $500 on a tier.
I mean, when you're getting drawn into the book, I mean, when I was on Shatner's Man of War and we had that perk, it was a couple grand. and I know Kevin Smith and the Comic Book Men crew are the one who pitched in to do that, to back that tier. So $500 to first, that's alone is worth just the being drawn into the book, because that goes for mucho money.
And
on
usually
other campaigns.
when you're drawn into the book, you're just like a background character. Right. This, you're going to become part of the team.
Yeah, it's I expect the 3 left to sell out in the next 16 days.
Yes.
I totally believe that.
So we're only 2 weeks into the campaign. We're already at $21,000. 16 days left for the first 30 days, then another 30 after that. So I'm very happy with the campaign. Mike is too. He says Steve is the bomb. Definitely. Whenever Steve shows up now, we yell Steve. So to honor him. Oh, we got Phil Diaz in the chat. Guys, I'm back into wrestling now that Punk is back. I'm all in on AEW. Awesome, Phil. Join us every LaPod Gods.
And we're talking about going multiple times a week now. We just started to bring up that idea in the chat a few minutes ago.
Yeah, there's so much wrestling now. I think it only makes sense that LaPod Gods does more than one show. We got Eddie Winkler in the house. What's up, Eddie? All right.
Happy belated birthday to the best box in the biz.
There you go. All right. So definitely, if you haven't checked out US Assassin, please do. At when we hit $25,000, all backers are going to get an Ashcan preview of one of my upcoming books, House of Ghosts. So I'm excited to get that out to people. All right. So we're here today, talk a little AEW All Out. We're going to go over the card. There's 10 matches. It's going to be a long pay-per-view. I'm really excited for it. It's supposed to be could be a couple surprises. You know, things are, from what I've been reading, you know, the big surprise was supposed to be at the Arthur Ashe arena show. Could be moved up. Adam Cole no longer with WWE supposedly too, so that could be another surprise. But let's dive into the card, Phil.
Well, let's just go for it.
Okay,
I promised it. Let's go do it. Daniel Bryan. Yeah, probably going to be coming in as Bryan Danielson, his original name pre WWE. It's all but confirmed he's going to show up tomorrow night, right? Yep. Where do you think he pops in?
I think he's going to pop in during the CM Punk Darby match, because afterwards I think there's going to be a double beatdown on Punk and Darby. I'm not sure who's going to do it. It can't be Daniel Garcia and 2.0. They strapped the rocket to those three guys.
I gotta say, you know, we always talk about. I feel bad because we've turned into. Originally, we were on Moxley's case because we're just like, oh, you got so many AEW talents that deserve the belt. But now doesn't it seem like anyone that's put into Moxley's circle, they sort of outshine him? I mean, Eddie Kingston with the Miro has been a great program. Daniel Garcia and 2.0 have been hilarious and just sort of dropped into this Darby Allen, Sting, Punk sort of scenario. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I would hope that Daniel Bryan pops in that way. I don't know if he'll come in. I don't know. I think AEW will probably put it in something different in the show. You know what I mean? I think we'll all expect it. But I don't know. I think the way they've booked surprises has been really good. So AEW keeps us on our toes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We got Eddie saying, so much wrestling, I can't keep up. What's House of Ghosts about? Looks intriguing. So that's a World War II ghost story. Takes place in Italy. It's about the Italian Black Brigade. I did some research on them years ago, and I was intrigued by them. They were allies of the Nazis during World War II. I thought they had like a really cool skull logo. I incorporated that into the logo. But yeah, it's a horror story, just set in World War II Italy. So really, really great artwork by Dan Seipel, and my buddy Seek Donnelly is helping me. I gave him the story, and he's making it into a script. Eddie says, not at all excited for Paul White QT match. Please take a backstage role already, Big Show.
You're not into Tall Paul? Come on, Tall Paul is the new breakout star in AEW. He's got a lot left in the tank.
All right, we'll get to that match. First, let's talk Orange Cassidy, Wheeler Yuta, Chuck Taylor, and Jurassic Express versus Matt Hardy, Private Party, and TH2. This is a feud. I hope this is the blow-off match because I can't wait for this feud to be over.
I feel like Jurassic Express deserved to beat the Lucha Bros to be in that cage match against the Young Bucks, but I think they sacrificed that so they could keep this storyline going or possibly end it, because the last week's Dynamite, they should have had Tony Khan. They had released a clip with Tony Khan coming out and trying to like fight Kenny Omega. That should have been on the show, because that beatdown to end the show was nasty against Jurassic Express. I expect the Express and Best Friends to go over. How are we looking on Trent? Is Trent ready to come back yet? Does he make a surprise to help them turn the tides, or is it just we finally get this?
I haven't heard anything about Trent coming back. They're really shoving Wheeler Yuta down our throats. But I don't. I don't know. I would assume Orange Cassidy's team wins this just because they've protected Orange pretty much, only losing to like Brody Lee and
Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, Cody. So yeah, I expect Orange and Wheeler and Chuck and Jurassic Express plus Jurassic Express. They do protect them pretty well, even though they had them lose to Lucha Brothers.
This has got what I love about All Outs is that this really ends feuds. You know how we always kind of go like, oh, WrestleMania is that show that ends feuds, and then on Monday it continues those feuds. All Out has done a good job of ending feuds. I think this is where Jurassic Express really starts their run against the Bucks, and I think this is where we start to see the downfall of the Elite post All Out.
We got Matt Hepp joining us. He says, been out of the loop with AEW, saw Bucks still had the belts and shake my head. Also, Miro having the belt is great. Miro's been fantastic. The Redeemer.
Champion.
Absolutely. Wyatt Holiday is joining us. What's up, Wyatt? OC Steve, hey, Mark, and howdy, Sheriff Phil. That's Cowboy Phil to you.
Howdy, y'all.
Although he does have his sheriff's badge on.
I got this again. In Texas, I told you, I now identify as a cowboy.
Hicks Villains joining us. What's up? All right. So I take it you're going with Orange Cassidy's team as well?
Yep, Team Orange. There's no reason to beat these guys. Plus, Jack Evans is probably eating the pin.
He seems like he's in the doghouse.
I just feel like we know that the Hybrid 2 sort of is their jobber team, so...
Yeah. So next up, we have the women's 21 woman casino battle royal. I think there's only one clear-cut winner of this.
Ruby Soho.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I think she's the wild card entrant. I think she's that
makes sense.
I think she's the wild card, and I think she wins this.
I was going to say Jade Cargill with Mark Sterling.
I think I don't think Jade is ready yet. I think they're doing a good job. I think something happens in this match that kind of gets her in a feud beforehand. So maybe Nyla Rose and her sort of both fall out at the same time. Maybe they're fighting and someone flips both of them over. So I'm gonna say Ruby comes in because she's the only one that has the gravitas to go up against a Britt Baker right now, because Britt, between her promos and fan reaction and her in-ring work getting better and better, she's untouchable in this division, and Ruby's the only one to really come in and give her a fight.
OC Steve says Wrestle Grand Slam Night 1 was great. Michael and Stanhausen in AEW.
Same here, Hausen.
Comic Book Bob, I think the Bucks drop to the Lucha Bros tomorrow. Then they drop to Santana and Ortiz. Comic Book Bob says Danhausen versus Darby would be dope. Mm-hmm. Wyatt's going with Tay Conti as his pick for the Women's Battle Royal. Comic Book Bob is with Ruby. Here's a question. Alan wants to know, when did AEW start? Was it October 2019 was the first show?
Yep, I was at the second show ever, right at the Temple Stadium.
I was there as well.
Yeah, so we were there for the second overall show.
Yep.
But let's imagine 2 years and they're growing so fast. I think everyone started to kind of wanted to dig at CM Punk being a needle mover. But how even in our chat alone, look how many viewers we have who are joining in just because Punk is back. And
yep.
when Bryan Danielson comes in tomorrow night, it's gonna be huge. He may be a bigger needle mover in my opinion, just because he's built up all that fanfare and love from the fans.
Mm-hmm. Zayd Comics says Thunder Rosa is awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're starting to the women's division. If Ruby Soho shows up, they've been building Jade Cargill great just through the promos. That's what they should have did before of putting her in that awful Shaq. Yeah,
I've been more interested in Jade Cargill without all the Shaq BS behind it. I love Mark Sterling as her agent. He has a little bit of that old school manager feel. I'm really loving what he's doing right now with Jade, and she really is bad at her. Remember her promos? It was kind of this and that, and now she's calmed down, and it's really awesome to see all that raw talent just started to be molded. It's what we love about AEW.
Yeah. OC Steve says Bucks have done nothing with FTR in the tag division. They have been buried. Rather see them versus the Briscoes in Ring of Honor. A lot of talk that FTR may be finishing up with AEW. Mm-hmm. Mr. Von Stugel says, "Oi, Phil got his old face back."
Yeah, no, you know what? The mustache has to go away for a little bit, but
Alan wants to know, when is All Out starting? Tomorrow at. Is it 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock. I believe 7 o'clock may be the buy-in show.
And it'll probably be like a 4-hour pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Right.
If not longer. Wyatt says he wants to see MJF beat up everyone for 3 hours. We'll get to MJF in a bit. So you're going with Ruby Soho as the winner of the Battle Royal.
You got it.
Yeah, I think you may be right. I'm going to stick with Jade Cargill, though. Now the match... we were just talking about earlier, Paul White versus our man, QT Marshall. I'm sorry. QT has come a long way, making it on the pay-per-view. He didn't even make it on a pay-per-view with his feud with Cody, did he? Because the British guy wrestled for him in his feud with Cody.
No, this is, unlike Big Show, FKA Big Show, who put nobody over. I'm thinking Tall Paul goes down to QT Marshall, because I think we see Malachi Black hit a once-in-a-lifetime blackout kick, because I think he's going after anyone who's part of that family. It'll just set up that Dynamite match against Dustin Rhodes.
Phil Diaz says QT has such a punchable face. He's a great villain, I think. He's come a long way. Remember, just a year ago, we were burying QT every chance we got.
Talk is Jericho, man. I think Talk is Jericho gave him the rub.
Yep. Hicks Villain says can't wait for the best of 7 series with Big Show versus Gun Club. Yeah, so Billy Gunn turned on Paul White. The only thing I thought, after he knocked him out with the chair shots, he should have made his boys beat down Big Show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, his sons are so unlikable. I hate the Gun Club. I think this is great for them, especially Austin Gunn. I think Austin Gunn has a more punchable face than QT.
Absolutely.
Given that stupid headband, you know what? just talking about this match has me excited for a Tall Paul Big Show match. Jesus.
The great thing is they're thinning the herd of the Nightmare family or whatever, that awful faction where, I mean, QT used to be part of it. He left. Mm-hmm. Now the Gun Club's apparently gone from it. Who's left? Just Cody and Shoddy Lee?
Well, no. Malachi Black kicked Shoddy's head off the other night. His promo because I hate it when he sort of backed out the other week, but then his promo on Wednesday that set it up with him saying, "No, I didn't want to knock you out. I wanted to give you a chance to think about your actions because you're going to suffer the same. You're going to suffer the same fate. You had to think about it." It was a great promo. I'm loving it.
Wyatt Holiday says, QT looks like if Bubba Ray Dudley lost a bunch of weight. Eddie Winkler says, for a non-wrestler type, QT is great. Eddie, I think, has been with us since the beginning. Mm-hmm. We used to bury QT. He was the worst part of every show. Now he's an enjoyable character. Mm-hmm. All right, so you actually think QT's winning this? I
think QT's, just because I think the Gun Club will come out, and then I think Malachi Black will sort of seal the deal.
I'm going with Paul White. Paul White didn't come to AEW to lose to QT Marshall. All right, God's champion Miro defending the TNT championship against Eddie Kingston. As great as this feud has been, there's no way Miro's losing.
Oh, Miro will be the longest reigning TNT champion. He's going to hold this belt until somebody gets a chance. Tony Khan said in an interview, Tony Khan said that the TNT title is not a mid-card title. And the only way the only way that changes is when somebody hot comes along, because they want to give the belt to someone who's hot. Mm-hmm. And Miro, when he turned on Penelope for Kip Sabian, mm-hmm. and he held him and he cradled him, and then every week we saw him cradle his opponent, give him forgiveness, lifting up the belt to the Lord. God, this is a fantastic gimmick. What did he say? When he took Fuego's mask off, he said, "Let the Lord see your face." It was hilarious. I think Miro has a shot to be the first double champion in AEW history. That's how good he's been. I think eventually when Kenny drops the belt to Hangman, I think Miro may be the guy to take the belt off Hangman because he's got an excellent gimmick, great on the mic, and his in-ring work has been good and borderline great, and now it's just staying at great. It's amazing.
Talk about coming a long way. That best man gimmick was terrible. Mm-hmm. And now he's probably the most enjoyable character on the show. Every time I hear his music hit, I get excited and Eddie Kingston is the perfect foil for him. This match is going to be brutal, and I'm in for it. Yeah, the chat seems to love Miro as well. We're both going with Miro. AEW Women's World Championship, Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander. Chris Statlander, I think, is one of the better female talents, but no one's taking the belt off Britt Baker right now. Mm-hmm. She may be the most over person in the company.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, when she is so over that in Punk's first promo back, he says you make a guy feel like Britt Baker in Pittsburgh. That alone shows you how her popularity is. And the fact is, I'm loving this. The fact that she's booked as a heel and the fans cheer her on, and she doesn't diss the crowd, she doesn't do anything. She stays as a heel. And Tony Khan is doing a great job of not letting this reaction she's getting turn her face. Because we've seen face Baker, and mm-hmm. It does not work. This is the perfect spot for her.
Bob wants to know who takes the belt off Miro.
I'm going to say Bryan Danielson.
I was thinking the same thing.
I'm going to say Bryan Danielson will be the guy who takes the belt off him. There's no one, unfortunately, there's no one in AEW that I think will be right now that could take the belt off of him. maybe if they build Jungle Boy, and I think if it's not Bryan Danielson, I think Jungle Boy getting that nice proper build would be the guy to take it off of him, just to build a new star, because Jungle Boy is really starting to get that fanfare. And I think slowly but surely they're going to build him up first with the TNT Championship reign, and then we'll see how it goes from there.
Phil Diaz says Miro was supposed to come to my arcade tonight.
Oh, well. Let's take pics if he does.
Eddie Winkler thinks Jamie Hayter's going to stab Britt in the back. That was kind of a strange addition to their little crew. I just like it, Britt and Rebel.
Yeah, there's going to be something that happens. I don't know if Ruby Soho's not in the Casino Royale. This may be where all three of them beat up Statlander afterwards, and Ruby Soho comes out to make a surprise save.
Eddie says no way Jungle Boy gets it from Miro.
Yeah, but that's why we said, Brian, there's no one on the AEW roster outside your main eventers.
Matt Hep says Hangman and Miro team up to be tag champs and belt holder, 2-man power trip. Yeah, I don't see Hangman being, unless you turn Miro babyface. I don't see Hangman ever being, at least in the foreseeable future, being a bad guy.
Especially when it's so hard to make. We say it every week. It's so hard to have a babyface actually likable, and Hangman is that guy. He's got that stone cold quality of you just want to root for this guy.
Hicks Villain says Rebel is Britt's Rufus. I think he means Ralphus. And OC Steve says Mox versus Kojima. Why? We'll get to, actually that's next. Yeah, Mox versus Kojima. Why? I think Mox probably wanted this.
Mm-hmm.
And New Japan probably wanted it as well.
Mm-hmm. And who goes over? Who do you think wins this one?
Mox.
Yeah, I'd love to see the surprise and Kojima win. I think it would be a cool little gift to New Japan. But Mox is just treading water right now, momentum-wise. And I think this would be a way to start to get him back. Maybe Moxley goes into a feud with Miro after this because him and Eddie Kingston have been best friends. Maybe just, Miro kicks Eddie's head off and it starts a new feud.
Yeah. Let's see. We got AEW World Tag Team Championship Steel Cage match. Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros. Who you got, Phil?
I'm gonna say the Bucks. I don't see as much as I'm with Comic Book Bob. I want to see Pentagon and I want to see Ray win the belts. Like I want to see them become champions, but I think it's gonna be Jurassic Express to take it off of them. I think they're gonna hold the belts until Double or Nothing, and I think Double or Nothing is gonna be a show where we almost see all new champions. I think Kenny Omega will lose to Hangman. I think the Bucks will lose to Jurassic Express. Miro may be the only champion that walks in with the belt and retains it that night.
Phil says Lucha Bros deserve belts. They are great entertainers. They're going to lose, though, because Pac's not going to be there. And Andrade El Idolo will say, see, I was right. Pac doesn't have your best interests in mind. He's going to bring the Lucha Bros over to his little faction.
Can we talk about something? The AEW has built this storyline where Andrade has said, oh, Lucha Bros don't have your back because they're having travel issues. Pac is like, they're like, well, he's having travel issues. And the reason why this match is delayed is because Pac is having travel issues. And I just think that was a hilarious turn of events in real life.
When they join Andrade, they better take Alex with them.
Oh, we called it here when we wanted Alex Abrahantes to be face and heel, whatever they are. He's such a great addition because he adds a mouthpiece, and that's all the Lucha Bros needed, and it's perfect.
And you know what? So Andrade started out with Vicky Guerrero as his mouthpiece. Then it got switched to Chavo. Let's switch Chavo out of there and bring in Ric Flair.
You know what? We are gonna get Ric Flair in AEW. It's almost because apparently the scuttlebutt is that AEW is going to sign him because they want him to be in their video game. So if they sign him, they can have his licensing for their products. And think about the AEW Ric Flair figure. That would be hilarious. So, let's just have him, because can you imagine having Ric Flair with Andrade and the Lucha Bros as the stable? That would be super fun.
Just Flair and Alex doing the promos.
We could get a Jay Lethal style woo off with Alex, but his could be like woo, or like Penta says woo. Like that would be amazing.
Oh yeah, we're booking it, man. Let's see. I lost some of the chat. OC Steve says double or nothing repeat, but this time it's in a steel cage. OC Steve says Jay could have lost the never belt to Mox. This would set up Kenny versus Jay. Hicks Villain says Bucks are better cheaters, just not as good at cheating as Carl Anderson. Carl Anderson has been very angry on Twitter. I think he needs to take a break.
Yeah, I do too. I think he's getting burnt out.
Comic Book Bob says, so Sky Blue was the final entrance into the Women's Battle Royal, so no Ruby Soho. That sucks.
Oh, then maybe she does come in with, maybe she beats up Jamie Hayter. Maybe that she makes the save for Chris Statlander.
Yeah. All right. Chris Jericho versus MJF. Jericho must retire if he loses. Is Jericho retiring?
No.
I don't think so either. I think Jericho finally gets his victory against MJF.
I honestly think Sammy Guevara comes in and helps him out. I think if I were to book it, I would do an unexpected swerve. I would have MJF cradle, put Jericho in a cradle, and Sammy comes over and flips him over, and that's how Jericho beats MJF. And then Jericho turns on Sammy and hits him with a Judas effect, being like, I didn't need you to help. I think we all think because he's going back on tour with Fozzy, but we've seen this before with Jericho. He's been on Fozzy. He's been touring with Fozzy on 2019. Yeah. So I think that's why he just was at a Fozzy show last night, and now he's coming back in. I think I think Jericho is just a master of his schedule.
Eddie says Y2J with the roll up. All right. AEW World Championship match. Kenny Omega, the champion, versus Christian Cage. Christian already got his victory over Kenny Omega. He's not beating him again.
No, this is going to be a good match, but this is where Kenny goes over clean as a sheet, hits him with a one-winged angel right in the middle of the ring, and that's it. Yeah,
I don't think there's much to discuss about this one. And then the main event, at least I assume it's the main event. That's what it's been hyped more than anything else. CM Punk versus Darby Allen. Punk has to win this. He's not coming back to lose to Darby Allen.
He totally is not. And that's when I think after the match, this is where we'll get Bryan Danielson coming out. It'll end with Punk and Bryan in a stare down.
That would be fantastic. Did you see? So Upper Deck is doing the AEW trading card set, and people were speculating, it's already in production. It's too late to add CM Punk to it. But they just announced you can go to I think you can go to upperdeckgepack.com and you can buy the number 0 card CM Punk for the set. I actually bought one. I think I'm actually going to go in on this set when it comes out. And I got the Punk card. It's digital right now, but eventually you can have it shipped to your house. So very cool for those collectors out there.
No, got to go in and grab it.
Yeah. Let's see. Hicks OC Steve says Double or Nothing should be an entire Elite versus Bullet Club card. Print money and shirts on Pro Wrestling Tees. Hicks Villain thinks Jericho is only retiring in AEW. Will still do random matches everywhere. Eddie thinks Punk can afford a loss. OC Steve says Punk versus Emo Hot Topic manager, winner Punk. Interference incoming. Absolutely, there's going to be something going on. Hicks Villain says Punk loses, says thanks for the last match. Chicago is set on fire.
Yeah, we're gonna get an almost Money in the Bank Punk Cena style reaction from Punk in this match. I know he had a huge one the other on his debut, but man, it's gonna be the way they've been building this up and the way Punk. This is where we're gonna start seeing. I think Punk totally works heel in this match. This is where we start to see. I think this is the only time we'll see CM Punk as a face for now, and I think they're just going to go straight into heel Punk against Danielson.
Phil Diaz says Punk's got to win. It was cool to see AEW call out the Pepsi twist. WWE never did that, I don't think. It would be amazing to see the Pepsi plunge come back. Matt Hebb says Punk versus Darby will probably be the longest match of the night. Do you think Adam Cole makes an appearance, or since everyone assumes Bryan Danielson is going to appear tonight, they save Cole for the Arthur Ashe show?
I think they're going to save. First of all, let's get this right out in the open. I'm sorry, WWE fans. Adam Cole is not coming back to WWE. It's if you can travel with your partner all the time. You can make big bucks, more than you'd be making at the WWE, and that partner is Britt Baker. Are you telling me you're really going to pass up on a contract from Tony Khan? I think they're going to save. I think the reason why they're sort of backtracking on Danielson at Arthur Ashe is because it's totally up in the air right now, but depending with COVID and what New York is going to rule. So I think that's why they feel comfortable in saying, you know what, Bryan Danielson is a megastar. He can appear on this show. People are going to pay to see the pay-per-view anyway. They're going to drive up some buys by releasing this info. And I think they can save Cole for the Arthur Ashe Stadium. Not to say that Adam Cole isn't a star. He's just not a megastar like Danielson. So I think they're going to save him for that show.
Comic Book Bob says Cole is still in talks between WWE and AEW, negotiating his contract. I still think he's going to AEW, but he's still working on getting as much as he possibly can. If I could fantasy book Adam Cole's first appearance, it's at the Arthur Ashe show. Punk and Bryan Danielson are in the ring. Kenny Omega and the Bucks come out. They're going to put the beat down on those two. Lights go out. Adam Cole returns. He wants revenge for the Young Bucks and Marty Scurll killing him.
Oh, being the Elite.
Yeah.
No, if the rumors are true, and Bray Wyatt, who they said is AEW bound, and Adam Cole signs with AEW, is this a big free agent signings as when the Radicals came into WWF? When we saw Guerrero and Malenko and Saturn all just sitting there in that front row?
Man, I feel like it's bigger. I feel like Punk, Bryan, Cole, and Bray Wyatt are bigger stars. I mean, at the time, Benoit was the WCW world champ, so that was big. Eddie Guerrero was great, but Saturn and Malenko, I mean, while great wrestlers, they were never, I think, on the level of I would say the two lesser people of this are Bray and Adam Cole, and
they're huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do you think now Bray Wyatt's contract is not up yet? It's not within 90 days. Do you think he shows up at Arthur Ashe? Or do you think they save him for something else?
I think they'll save him for something else.
I agree.
Matt Hebb says, unrelated note, really want Kyle O'Reilly to have an intercontinental run. It'll be interesting to see what happens to Kyle O'Reilly, especially with the whole NXT shakeup. There was rumors that Vince and Bruce Pritchard were taking over the show. Then they weren't, but they were still overseeing things. It's going to be interesting.
soon enough we'll see Paul Levesque is all elite because he talk about a guy who built a brand, made it competitive. You're talking about someone who, AEW is the biggest rival that WWE has seen since WCW. And there were weeks when NXT was beating out AEW. So Triple H, say all you want about him, he built that brand to be a cable network show. Sometimes getting 1 million people to watch it. It's hard to get 1 million people to sit down and watch anything. So I think I feel so bad for Triple H because we think of the glory days of NXT, and all those guys are not even on the roster anymore outside of KO and Sammy.
Yeah. OC Steve says health check required for the New Japan show in Riverside, California. They won't sell out because of being so strict. Just tell people to wear a mask like in LA. Comic Book Bob says, so here's a mind screw. What if Bryan Danielson comes out as a heel and attacks Punk?
That would be great. If we get American Dragon heel Bryan Danielson, it will totally, and I think he'll get the yes chance, but I think that will kill it. Especially in Chicago, that crowd would turn on Danielson right away. It would be a great way to set him up as a heel, because remember, they said there's nothing more dangerous than going after CM Punk at Chicago. What a way to start getting fans to think of him as a heel if that Chicago fan base turns on Danielson.
What do you think the chances are of him coming out to Final Countdown by Europe?
Oh, Tony Khan has already bought it. Tony Khan can buy, at this point, he can buy anything because he's put, he said going in, he knew he was going to take a loss the first couple years going into this. And there's just by doing these little buyouts of theme songs and building up your brand, it's going to really start rolling over, because I don't think there's any wrestling company in the world that has more momentum than AEW. I mean, SmackDown the other night was fantastic, right? SmackDown has been a really good show, but we don't hear about it because AEW is just really taking that ball and rolling with it. It's snowballing, and I think we're already seeing this trend of AEW getting over 1 million views consecutively. We're going to get to a point where that's normal, and now we're going to have to see if they can start hitting 1.5 and then 2 and see how it goes.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of excitement right now. I can't remember like a bigger time where people who have given up wrestling, like Phil, Zaid Comics in the chat. He's back because of Punk. A lot of people are back because of Punk. It's good for wrestling.
And here's the thing about Punk. He is not disappointed. You know what I mean? His promos have always been excellent. And just that moment the other week or so when they were chanting yes, and he's like, you're gonna have to be patient for that one. That is what really, I think, made you think, oh, they're onto something, because Punk, he's got no F's left. This is his final run, and I think he's just having fun. This is the first time I've seen Punk excited since that Punk Cena match in Money in the Bank in 2011?
Yeah. So that does it for AEW. There's one more sort of wrestling related thing I wanted to mention. Did you watch Vacation Friends on Hulu? John Cena's new movie.
I have not. Is it any good?
I thought it was hilarious. Apparently it's done so well, they're already planning the sequel, Honeymoon Friends. So yeah, another home run for Cena.
I got to give it to John Cena. I think he's done such a great job of, everyone booed him because it was the thing to do, right? When it was against Punk, it was like, oh, we're the real wrestling fans versus this Vince McMahon creative monster. And then with AJ Styles, it was like, this is the guy from TNA. This is the guy from New Japan. He's the indie guy. He's our wrestler. And John Cena. And now we saw Roman Reigns and we saw John Cena And John Cena is just so good on the mic. And I think we forget that, you know what? That's what WWE lacks. They lack that megastar because who cares? That's what wrestling was all about. Like, I loved when you just knew that the WWF was The Rock and Stone Cold, and it just made for good business. And John Cena is going to be sorely missed when he does eventually retire one day.
I'm going to let you in on a little something, Phil. I was always part of the chain gang. I got a little Cena shrine right over there in my case.
Yeah, if you go to Mark's Instagram, he says that he posted a shrine to Cena, but all I saw was a blank shelf.
So, Phil, before we wrap this up, you have anything else you'd like to add to our wrestling discussion?
No.
Have you watched Heels? OC Steve says they're on episode 4 is tomorrow night. It's a great series. I haven't watched it yet. I would like to. I just don't have stars.
We'll find a way to see it.
Yeah, there's always a way. All right, Phil, where can people find you at?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AnimatedPhil. My Etsy shop is in the link. And I promised I'll give a shout out. Follow Jamie Atkins 1 on Twitter. She's going through a rough time right now. So she has a GoFundMe. If you're feeling generous, go ahead, link to her page. But I'm doing a cover for her book. So I just want to give a shout out to her and plug.
Very cool. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Coney Waves. Make sure you subscribe to Primetime Poulton. Hit the notifications. Hit a like for this video. You've been watching us. And Phil and I, we're going to try to come back more often. Twice a week we're looking at. There's so much wrestling. We got to keep up with all of it. But anyway, guys, thanks for joining us. Go back US Assassin if you haven't. Still 16 days left or 14 days left in the first 30 days. Plenty of awesome rewards, and we will see you later. Thanks for watching, guys.